Okay, if you want to hear all about the Amalfi pattern, the swimsuit pattern, and get into some nitty-gritty details, we're going to be talking about sizing, all of that good stuff. If that interests you, then please stay tuned. All right, everybody, happy Sunday. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Today is actually a collaboration video with Miss Sheree Thomas over from here on YouTube. You actually would have seen the S&D Summer Chat. If you missed that, I'm just going to link to it in the description box. Sheree and I actually collaborated before on the Friday Pattern Company Westcliff dress. Absolutely love that dress, everything about it. But anyway, if you don't know anything about Miss Sheree, go ahead and go check out the S&D Sewing Chat so you can hear a little bit about her background and sewing and all of that good stuff. It's a really good chat. And so today, her and I are collaborating on another pattern, and this is the pattern is made for mermaids, and it's the Amalfi swimsuit pattern. And so welcome to all of my new subscribers. Welcome to anybody who this is the first time you're clicking on the video. Maybe you came over from Sheree's channel. Thank you for coming over. Thank you for stopping by, hearing my review on this pattern. And yeah, make sure you go check out Sheree's video. I will leave a link to it down in the description box down below. You will want to hear her review as well. And so yeah, we are going to jump into it. Let me just tell you, we are going to get into all of the things. You all know I've said many times on my channel, just because you are plus size does not make you curvy, and just because you're curvy does not make you plus size. And so, and I constantly said that over the years, just because I know for me, and again, this is just my personal opinion, you don't have to agree, but that is one of the things I keep in mind when I am trying out patterns that do have extended sizing, and they may say they are for plus size and for curvy and different things of that nature. I take all of that into consideration, and I did for this pattern. And so again, we're going to go ahead and jump into it, and let me make sure I'm leaving room for you. And I just have on my BHM Pattern Designers t-shirt that we sold year 3, and so yeah, in the hat. I'll get into, yeah, I was supposed to test this out for you guys, because you all know you would have had a thumbnail of me in this swimsuit, for one, if I was wearing it properly. And as I get into that, you all let me know if you think I'm wearing it properly, because I do have pictures and I have a short clip that I will be sharing with you. But I was thinking maybe I don't have it on right, so I wasn't going to do a thumbnail. Plus, I really wanted my thumbnail to be me in the pool like I did for my other swimsuits. You know, you all, I've made a swimsuit before. It was the Cashmere Ipswich, and so part of my thumbnail was me in the pool, I think, and all that. I'll leave a link to that if you're interested in that pattern review of that swimsuit down below. But you guys, I just could not get out the bed this morning because that class is early. You all know I have not made it to Aquafit. That's my purpose for making a swimsuit, is for my Aquafit class, because I like to go at least twice a week if I can, but I haven't been in several months, as you all know, because the swimsuits I had, the Ipswich that I made, then I had a ready to wear one. They are just way too big, saggy, everything. And so I said I'm not going back until I have a swimsuit. And so you all know, as part of my activewear plans was to make a swimsuit. This swimsuit was not in that plans video. However, in one of my sewing buzz, I had talked about this pattern release. I absolutely love it. Let me pop it up. It's the Amalfi reversible 3-piece swimsuit. I absolutely think the model, the cover, and everything looks gorgeous in this suit. Everything about it just appealed to me. And so Sheree, I saw one of her videos, and she also picked up this pattern. So I reached out to her. I said, "Do you want to do a pattern collab on this one?" And this was like 2 months ago. And so so yeah, we decided to do the collaboration. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the pattern. So the pattern is, let's see here. It is a reversible 3-piece swimsuit, and I will pop up the kind of the line drawings and everything so you can see it. And so there you have the top where you can do waist front ties, you can do you know, different things with the tie up in the front, cinching it in, tying it around the top to the back. You can do ties over your shoulders. You can do a center front tie, side tie, different things of that nature. And you do have the option for a low or a high rise for the bottoms. And so yeah, I actually cut out the ties, but I actually didn't use them because I'm not wearing this to lay on the beach or, you know, anything like that. It wasn't for me to do any of that. So for me, the ties were not necessary for me personally. So I didn't even though I did cut them out, I didn't even sew them up. I didn't even use them. And so I did, the version that I did was the top version where it's just the top by itself, right? And then I did the briefs, but I did the low rise, which means the curve in the front is lower instead of higher. And so I'll show all that, and you'll see it in the pictures. It's not a lot of pattern pieces for this particular pattern. You have, because it's fully reversible, you do have the bottoms, which is, you cut out the front on the fold, back on the fold, and then the lining. But it's the top that has more pieces to it because you have the 2 separate top pieces. So you, that's 4 pieces. Because you have the lining, and then if you do the tie, then you have the ties with the lining and all of that. So it's not a heck of a lot of pieces to begin with, which is nice. The sizing, so if you go to the size chart, and I will actually pop it up on the screen, what you will see is there are measurements for upper bust, full bust, and the under bust. And definitely take all that into consideration. Then you have the waist, the hips, then the trunk length and side waist length, different things of that nature. And so the sizing goes from gray, pink, purple, blue, indigo, green, yellow, orange, red, ruby, lilac, navy. And so essentially the sizing goes from a size 31, 30 to 31 for a full bust, up to a full bust of 58 to 60 inches. And so there is negative ease into this pattern, which means obviously it's meant to hug you and everything, not meant to fit loose or anything like that. The pattern does suggest that you choose your size by your upper bust and full bust, grading for under the under bust. Waist and hip areas as necessary. And there is a link in the pattern that talks about matching sizes, which to me just sounds like grading between sizes. I didn't look at that, so I can't be 100%. It does call, because you have so many pieces, this is fully enclosed, fully reversible. Because you have so many pieces, you do usually, I've seen, at least for the last swimsuit I've made, and then other swimsuits you all know I've shared with you that I want to work on, you usually are doing about a yard of fabric or something like that. But because you have so many lining pieces and it's fully reversible, I would say, you know, comfortably 1.5 to 2 yards of fabric for your lining and all of that, especially if you decide to do the ties and everything. And then also in the pattern is an elastic chart. So you all know that I say this even for garment wearing, I never follow the chart that is in the pattern when for any pattern when doing elastic. Very rare if ever I do. And so I saw that the elastic chart was in here, and I saw, you know, how long it said, you know, how much yardage you would need, inches I should say, for your elastic. I did not do that. I have a continuous, I forget where I got this, but it's this, and you all know I organized all my lingerie and lingerie bra stuff, and so here's my bag with my swimsuit elastic in it, and I had 10 yards, and I got this from, oh my gosh, if I can remember, I will link it. I'll put it on the screen, and I'll link to it down below. I see the name, but you know how sometimes you see something, you just can't get the words out. But if, you know, if I can remember, I'll put it on the screen. If I can't, sorry. You can get swimwear elastic from many different places online. I will try my hardest to remember to figure out where I bought that and put that down below. But anyway, I have 10 yards of it, and it was super inexpensive, and it's some really good swimwear elastic. For the needle I just used a ballpoint for knit, because this is I did use swim fabric, and then the thread I used was just my Gutermann thread for this. And what else? Did I use anything else in particular? No, that was pretty much it. And I used my Wonder Clips, because obviously, well, at least I suggest don't use pins, because you know, swimwear fabric can be shifty, and so I just use Wonder Clips when I'm when it says pinning and all that together. I just use Wonder Clips. Let's get into the instructions. I can't tell you, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't look at these instructions. There is, thank goodness, a video on YouTube on Made for Mermaids channel, and they're very short. I think the top is like 20 minutes and the bottom is like 10, 11, 12 minutes. I highly suggest you just go and just watch the video. I don't know for certain parts, because it's a lot of burrito method. She don't call it that. I believe it's Megan that's doing the sew along. She doesn't call it burrito method in the video, but I know that's what it was. So again, I didn't look at the instructions, so I don't know how it's described. If she describes it in the video and it's written that way, you will be totally confused. I would say just watch the video. And if you're familiar with doing the burrito method on, like, when you have yoke pieces and different things like that for garments, that's what she's doing. She's doing the burrito method, and she's just showing you how to do it. But she doesn't say the words burrito method, which is fine. That's why I highly suggest just watch the video. And so, because I think the video actually is really good. I didn't have any issues with the video at all. When it got to her talking about the again, she didn't say the word burrito method. I just watched her do what she was doing first, and I was like, oh, she's just doing the burrito method. So for me, I'm like, just say the burrito method. but anyway, so again, I highly suggest, even though the sew alongs for this are super short, just watch the sew alongs first. I always suggest that when you're doing a sew along, just watch the sew alongs all the way through first, and then go through and do it. And you might be able to follow along with the instructions as you go through the sew along. I don't know. I never looked at the instructions at all, so I honestly cannot tell you. For certain parts, I don't think the instructions probably would have made much sense for me based on the video. I just find the video super duper helpful, and I suggest doing that. However, I will say the pictures in the pattern are really good, because it's actual photos, and you can see the you all know I always have an issue when some pattern companies, they put photos in and the fabric is all the same color, or the fabric is blending in with each other, the fabric colors and everything. For this, you can clearly see what would be the lining. It's really not a lining in a main side, because it's reversible, but it makes sense to label it lining in one main fabric, just so it's easy from that perspective. So that is my overall review about the instructions. So far as the elastic, when I was attaching the elastic, I just had it, I was just pulling it taut as I was going through. The size, I don't think I even mentioned that. The size I cut, my measurements, my full bust is a 44. My waist is around 37, 38 right now, going down. And my hip is around a 47. So I cut out, and I'll pop it back up here, I cut out a green and a yellow. So the green I did for my top, and my yellow I did for the bottoms. And so yeah, so for me, that's what I used for my piece. And the reason I went with a smaller size, instead of doing, even though I said my full bust is a 44, technically I should have been cutting out the yellow. But because this is a swimsuit that it doesn't have cups, there are no cups in it. And because of this whole crisscross situation, I was like, no, I want to make sure that if I bounce or move, it's not too much movement up in here. And so I decided to go down a size for the top, which I'm glad I did, because I found that to be more snug. The other thing that I did, and now I'm going to start showing you the swimsuit, if I can get the words out. So you have one side that crosses. First of all, when I finished it, even though I saw this in the so long, when I finished it, even when I saw the end of the so long and I saw it was these two separate pieces, I was like, how in the world do you put that on? So maybe sidebar. Now that might be asking a lot for a pattern company to have a model, because then that means somebody probably need to be, I don't know, maybe they could be in a one piece or something like that. But I had no idea how to put this on. I was like, okay, am I just throwing one breast over here, and this part go up under this breast over here, and then I put this breast over here, I mean put this over my breast, and then, but if this is crossed over going up under here, this one can't go up under here, because y'all, okay, let me just go ahead on. I wore this around the house. Me and my husband had a good old laugh. And he said, oh, you made a swimsuit? I said, yeah. And I said, do this look weird? Like I have this on wrong? We both were just laughing so hard. Oh my goodness, we had such a good laugh. He was like, yeah, I don't think you have that on right. And I'm getting ready to show y'all the pictures why. Because again, it's this whole overlap, and you will see, if you see the pattern, and when you see the sew along, you will see hers do not look all ruched up like this. What I did was, across the bust area, I decided to pull my elastic more taut than what was said in the sew along, because I wanted to make sure, y'all, these girls are big, and they full. It's a lot of breast tissue going on here. I don't need nothing falling out and moving around and all this, because it's not a cup. There are no cups in this. And so that's what I did. So that's why you see more gather here, and you see more gather around the waist. This is the waist. The armpit, not so much, but definitely up here around the top and around the waist, there's a lot more gathering. Then the let me just share with you the bottoms real quick. The bottoms were fine. I did gather more, pull a little bit more taut for the waist, because I didn't want to risk, you know, it being too loose or anything like that. And so I decided to pull it in a little bit more. I did pull in more around the butt cheek areas as well. And she does mention that in the video, that you pull more around the butt cheek so you get a nice snug fit. But again, if you're looking at mine and you look at hers, mine is way more gathered, and everything is fully reversible. It's definitely fully reversible. You do have the option to top stitch on one side, but you know, that's totally up to you. If you do that, I might suggest you just use a clear thread, the clear thread. What is it? The clear, is it the clear thread? I forgot. Do I have any of it? I don't think I do, but you all know what I'm talking about. Because if you're depending on the fabric that you use, let me just say that, depending on the coloring that you're using, if you're using something like mine is just two totally separate colors. I don't remember where I got this fabric from. I think I said that in my video when I showed this. But oh no, the green came from Amelia Lane Designs. I got it as part of the little pack. They had a bundle, and this was one of the green was in that bundle, but the blue, this aqua, I don't know where I got that from. And I've had it for years. But anyway, so that is, you know, depending on the contrasting colors you use, you want to be probably careful about the stitching around, because you can stitch, you know, stitch all that down and everything. You can, but you need to make sure that the color thread that you're using will look fine on either side, you know. And so I decided not to do any of that top stitching on any of the pieces. And so let me just go ahead and start showing you a couple pictures. I didn't take a lot of pictures because I was thinking maybe I don't have this thing on right, and that cannot be a thumbnail. So I was like, let me just share with you the pictures. So in the picture, and I'll do a quick video too, in the picture you can kind of tell, again, I'm full bust, and plus y'all, the girls are heavy. It's a lot of breast tissue going on. This whole crisscross thing in the front, that was not working for me. I will tell you, I wore it around the house. It fits, as you can tell, it fit. But this is not something I wouldn't even think twice about, like laying around in this on the beach or anything like that, because after, I would say 45 minutes or whatever, like literally I walked around the house, was sitting down, all this other different stuff. It's uncomfortable. It gets to be uncomfortable around around this breast area up in here. And it's because one part scoops up under, but you can't scoop that other part under unless I'm just not figuring out how to put this thing on. You just cannot do that. So the other part is kind of cutting across, and you'll see it in my picture here. It's not comfortable for long wear, in my opinion. I think personally this pattern, it's a really good pattern. When I say I love everything is enclosed, there are no seams showing, I absolutely love the straps because they go across the shoulder. You all know I cannot stand straps that go across, like crisscross and come across here, because for me it causes pain for me around my upper neck area, and I feel like I start doing this, trying to negate some of that. But I love that it goes across the shoulders, and I love the fit on the back. I'm gonna pop up the video. I love the fit on the back. It's very comfortable on the back. It's just that crisscross in the front, y'all, and then the bottoms perfectly fine. I will sew more of these in a heartbeat. No problem with sewing the bottoms. Super easy to make up, but yeah, and very comfortable. And so what I will say about the top though, if you, my opinion, if you full bust like me and you got a lot of tissue, you got a lot going on up in here, this thing is not comfortable. It's beautiful for somebody who might be, even if they're curvy. This is what I mean by that statement I made earlier. Even if they're a little bit more curvy, there are some plus size women, as you all know, that have small breasts. And this is perfect because, sorry, my camera cut off, because their breast is going to sit in a certain spot and they don't have to worry about all that extra tissue like I got going on up in here and all that. And then you got that little crisscross, because if you smaller and you got the crisscross, it's going to crisscross just fine. But if you got all that extra tissue and everything going on, and yeah, that's not going to work out so well for you. At least if I'm wearing it right, I don't know. You know, based on how I figured, I was confused on how to really put it on. They do have a Facebook group. I'm not in that Facebook group, I don't think. And so, you know, I didn't go out there or anything like that. Full disclosure, no, I did not reach out to the pattern company, and no, I didn't not go out to the Facebook group and all of that, because I still think it's a good pattern. I really do. Lots of options, and I would highly recommend for, you know, if you don't have a lot of this going on up here, I highly recommend it for you. But it's going to be a little bit of a struggle for this little area up in here. At least that's my opinion. That is pretty much it. That is my review. Like I said, it's only 4 pattern pieces, not a lot. It's a lot of pieces to cut out. It's not a lot of pattern pieces, I should say that. And you don't have to worry about closures. You know, with a lot of swimsuits, you have to worry about some kind of closure, the little elastic hook closure and different stuff. You don't have to. That's the simplicity of this pattern is what I like about it. The bottoms work perfectly. But it's that area up in here, because I don't think I put it on right, or, you know, it just wasn't comfortable after a while. But that's pretty much it. If you get this pattern, follow the sew along. Watch the sew along all the way through, and then go from there. You'll be good to go. And so, yeah, that's pretty much all I have. I don't have anything else. Make sure, please go check out Sheree's video and see what her thoughts are, what, you know, her different suggestions and whatnot that she had and everything. Thank you, Sheree, for doing the this collaboration. I'm glad we did it. I will be wearing this. Like I told my husband, I'm wearing it. It's just I'm only gonna wear it to class, like for real class. That's it. I wouldn't. Is that in our Aquafit is about 45 minutes long. That's to the extent I will wear this. But sorry, I could not get my tail up out the bed for that. But I still got in my 10 miles. Full disclosure, still got in 10 miles, got over 10,000 steps in. I still did my ab work, and I still did my upper arm weight exercise, since I did not decide not to go to the gym for Aquafit. So I still got it in, y'all. But anyway, that is all I have today. Let me know if you have any questions. If you made the Amalfi swimsuit, let me know your thoughts on it. Do you plan to pick it up? I'll leave a link to the video for the sew along down below and where to pick up the pattern. But that is all I have for you today, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. I do have a new pattern release video coming up on Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, everybody, we will see you on Wednesday. Bye.